Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 892 of the Juicebox Podcast. This episode started so bizarrely that I've chopped off the front of it and put it at the back of the episode so you can hear it. Mary's the mother of a child with type 1 diabetes. She came on to tell her story, but somehow her scheduled recording slot was while she was on vacation. So she did this from a hotel. And at first she tried to do it from her car and then back into the hotel room, but her kids had to go outside. It's comically funny about the interruptions and the noises, but somehow it all goes together in this episode. So I think you'll find it delightful. There are chunks of time when I just cut out noises so you don't have to hear them. I hope this doesn't stop you from listening to it. You really shouldn't. It's rather interesting. Anyway, nothing here on the Juicebox Podcast should be considered advice, medical or otherwise. Always consult a physician before making any changes to your healthcare plan. Becoming bold with insulin, you know that one. If you have type 1 or you're the caregiver of someone with type 1, please complete the survey at t1dexchange.org/juicebox. It helps diabetes research. It helps you. It helps me. t1dexchange.org/juicebox. All right, we're almost up to it. Today's podcast is sponsored by Omnipod. Now, Omnipod makes the Omnipod 5, which is automated, and the Omnipod DASH, which is not. But they're both tubeless and amazing, and you can learn more about them at omnipod.com/juicebox. This show is sponsored today by the glucagon that my daughter carries, Gvoke HypoPen. Find out more at gvokeglucagon.com/juicebox. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and then we'll talk for real. Although I have to imagine a lot of the noise is going to be at the end of the episode for people to listen to, but that's.
Yeah. So my name is Mary and I live in Savannah, Georgia. My son Jackson, who just turned 8, was diagnosed May 5th of 2020 with type 1.
So
and
he's been over 2 years now.
No, I'm sorry. It's been, he just had his 1 year in May.
Oh, excuse me, 2021. Okay, so 1 year. And how old is he now?
He just turned 8.
Jackson, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any autoimmune issues?
No, not that I'm aware of. But what was interesting was my husband had been diagnosed type 2 for years, and he'd been on metformin and whatnot. And then I would say maybe about 5 or 6 months post Jackson's diagnosis, I was noticing at night that my husband, his name is Keith, mm-hmm. He was going to the bathroom ferociously at night, multiple times and like Niagara Falls. I mean, it was there's something going on. So I said to him after about the second night, I'm like, you need to go check your sugar because this is exactly what we went through with Jackson. And he did. And it just read high.
So did they decide that his medication was wrong or did he develop type 1?
He has type 1. It's the LADA or LADA, however it's pronounced. He went and he got off the medication and he's on a pump now. He had all the testing done, everything. And I mean, everything just came back.
Wow.
In the type 1 direction.
How long was Keith being treated for type 2?
Let's see. Maybe about 6 or 7 years.
Really?
Long time.
Do they think he had type 1 the whole time and it was just LADA and it was just the onset was very slow?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame.
I know.
Yeah. Do you look back? Did it impact his life not knowing it was LADA?
Yeah. I mean, well, I look back, I mean, he's always loved, sugar and, his, his moods and looking back, it's wow, this makes sense.
Did you find yourself applying your professional knowledge to his behavior and coming up with the wrong answer, but it looks right?
No.
No, you didn't do that?
Mm-mm.
I gotcha. You know what I mean? Like when you see like the anger or something like that, or like behavior changes because of blood sugars, it's easy to think of them as maybe being something else. So I was just wondering if that ever happened.
Well, I mean, yeah, I never thought about the type 2. You know,
Right.
like I didn't know much. I mean, I knew about type 1 because my maternal aunt is type 1. She developed type 1, God, when she was like in her mid to late 40s.
Oh, okay.
And
So,
she'll tell you that it's because of her husband and all the stress that he put on her. Um, because there's no other, at least that we know of, autoimmune stuff
okay.
in our family.
So your aunt has type 1, your husband has type 1, and now your son.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. Well, how did you notice your son's diagnosis? Like, did it come up on you harshly, and did you end up in the hospital, or did you figure it out before it happened?
No, he got COVID, which I was not suspecting at all. Like he fell asleep on the way home from baseball practice one evening, and which never happened. You know, just was out of character. And then we got home, and he was burning up. He had like 102.
Mm-hmm.
So I gave him Motrin. You know, he went to bed, woke up in the morning completely fine. So I was just keeping him out for that day and was ready to send him back. And the school was like, no, he needs a COVID test. I was like, oh, all right, whatever. It's not COVID, you know? Mm-hmm. So he went in and tested positive for COVID. And then I would say 3 or so weeks, that was in April. Yeah, it was about 2 to 3 weeks that we were noticing he was more tired. He didn't look right. You know, his color was off. He was more pale, and it looked like he was starting to lose weight. And every single morning, he would wake up wet. I mean, wet to the point where it was like, obviously there was something wrong. Like he doesn't do that. You know, he was 6 years old at the time.
Right,
and
right.
I mean, it was so bad. And every morning he was so upset. And, you know, it's funny because, just to go off topic for a second, looking back, he would wake up some mornings really cranky. You know, he's not a morning person anyway, but some mornings he'd wake up just really cranky. And I would think to myself, he just needs like some juice or sugar to pep him up. And he would do that. He'd drink a cup of orange juice every morning, and he would be a completely different person.
Huh.
Which is so interesting to me. But anyway, so I noticed the wetting the bed was really concerning, and the thirst. And, you know, so one of my good friends is a pediatrician, and I was like, I'm bringing him in. I want like the glucose tested, everything tested. And we went in, and it was funny because the nurse came in, she did the finger poke, and she had a lollipop with her. And because, you know, he was going to get a needle, right? So she took his blood, and it just, the meter just said high. And she's like, well, I guess you're not going to be getting this. And
A lovely one.
It's like, jeez. Okay.
Yeah.
And, you know, he had high ketones and everything in the urine. So the pediatrician came in, was crying.
The pediatrician? So in just a couple of moments, the nurse has waved a lollipop in front of your son and then said, no, he can't have it. And then the pediatrician was crying?
He was crying, dude. Like, what? I mean, look, I come from the Northeast. Like, things are different in the South, I'll tell you. But, like, I just thought that was very, like, inappropriate.
Yeah, unprofessional. No, it's a lot of things, actually. But
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, he's a great guy. He's a good doctor, but like, I was just very taken aback. So I just was like he couldn't even get the words out that he had type 1. Whereas like, I kind of already knew.
Mm-hmm.
So I just I remember like, it was yesterday. I pulled my mask down. I looked him dead in the face and I'm just like,
Gvoke HypoPen has no visible needle and is a premixed autoinjector of glucagon for treatment of very low blood sugar in adults and kids with diabetes ages 2 and above. Find out more. Go to gvokeglucagon.com/juicebox. Gvoke shouldn't be used in patients with insulinoma or pheochromocytoma. Visit gvokeglucagon.com/risk. My daughter Arden began wearing the Omnipod tubeless insulin pump on February 4th, 2009. That was 5,093 days ago. Or another way to think of it, 1,697 pods ago. At that time, she was 4 years old. Hang out with me for a moment while I tell you more about the Omnipod. Omnipod.com/juicebox. Today, Arden is 18 and still wearing Omnipod. Back then, there was one choice, just one pod. But today, you have a decision to make. Do you want the Omnipod 5, the first and only tubeless automated insulin delivery system to integrate with the Dexcom G6? Because if you do, it's available right now for people with type 1 diabetes ages 2 years and older. The Omnipod 5 is an algorithm-based pump that features Smart Adjust technology. That means that the Omnipod 5 is adjusting insulin delivery based on your customized target glucose. That's helping you to protect against high and low blood sugars, both day and night, automatically. Both the Omnipod 5 and the Omnipod DASH are waterproof. You can wear them while you're playing sports, swimming, in the shower, the bathtub, anywhere really. That kind of freedom coupled with tubeless, a tubeless pump. You understand it's not connected to anything. The controller is not connected to the pod. The pod is not connected to anything. You're wearing it on the body tubelessly. No tubing to get caught on doorknobs or anywhere else that tubing with those other insulin pumps can get caught. Omnipod.com/juicebox. That's where you go to find out more. You may be eligible for a free 30-day trial of the Omnipod DASH. You should check that out too when you get to my link, omnipod.com/juicebox. So if you're looking for an insulin pump that is tubeless, waterproof, and automated, you're looking for the Omnipod 5. If you want to do it on your own and you're not looking for the automation, Omnipod DASH. For full safety, risk information, and free trial terms and conditions, please also visit omnipod.com/juicebox.
Is this a life-threatening emergency right now? He's like, no, ma'am, it's not. I'm like, do I have time to go home and pack a bag? And he's like, you have about an hour. I'm like, peace. See you later, dude.
Also,
like, we're out. Did
you give him your business card? Were you like, hey, I'm a psychotherapist and you're not great at this, so you might want to talk to somebody? That was. Did you ever resolve why he was crying?
Well, it's funny because he called the room the next day to check on Jackson. And I was like, he's like, I'm just so upset about this. And I mean, I was like, look, we're being really positive about this, buddy. You know, this isn't a death sentence. I mean, we're going to crush this. We're going to be just fine. You know, like, you know, in my adrenaline driven state, you know, and trying to be super positive in front of Jackson.
Right.
And I was like, sounds like you got a little upset, or looks like you got a little upset over there yesterday. He's like, yeah,
Is he a younger person?
No, he's older. He's like, I don't know, maybe in his early 50s, late 40s. He has 3 kids, 3 boys.
Interesting.
He's like, I'm not used to delivering bad news. And I was like, you're a freaking doctor.
He's like, I'm a pediatrician. I usually I tell you if they get taller. I'm like, look at this chart. See how they're growing on this thing? I got to go to the next room now. See you later. The lady will pick the kid.
Yeah, I know. It's like 2 seconds.
Yeah. That's interesting. Wow. might
Isn't
not be
that funny?
that was definitely
Yeah.
not the right job for him. That's for sure. That's
I know.
great.
And he wins like Best of Savannah every year.
People are probably like, he's so empathetic. I mean, I'm not wrong, right? Like, it's nice for empathy, but like, you're looking for somebody to like present a bit of I don't know, like a reasonable, just comport yourself differently, right? I don't know what I'm
Yeah,
trying to
no.
say. Like, you shouldn't be
I mean,
crying.
totally. I mean,
Yeah,
where I come from, and the way I was trained, like that is ethically inappropriate.
right.
And also, like, you don't do that as a doctor in front of the child.
Yeah, right. I mean, all right. Anyway, let's get past that because we're not going to figure that out. But
I know. So then I felt like I had to go into like even more like superhuman mode to be like, you are going to be just fine. Because Jackson was so scared.
yeah,
We both were.
right. Let's forget that the person that you think of as knowing everything came into the room crying, telling you what's wrong with you, because that's just very awful. Has Jackson had any like repercussions from that, or is it a moment that just got past him pretty easily?
Oh, it passed him pretty easily.
Good. Well, there's a lot happening the next day. I would imagine it probably took his mind
Yeah.
off of it. How long were you in the hospital?
We were in the hospital 3 days, 2
Okay.
nights.
And you leave with technology or no?
No.
Nothing. Just needles?
Just needles, the typical like MO with diabetes. Like, here, we're just giving you what you need to stay alive and like go Google everything. Good luck.
This was a COVID diagnosis too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So did they limit people in and out of the room or?
No, he had been past that 2-week mark.
Okay.
So we were all right. But it's funny because the dietitian and all the doctors and nurses that were in and out, they all taught us, like everyone says, they teach you to eat and then bolus. And then they were like, there's a new endocrinologist here at the hospital that you're going to see. And, he does things kind of differently. He's going to want you to pre-bolus but we're not going to teach you that way. So my husband and I were like, what the freak?
Yeah,
Sorry, I swear all the time.
No, that's fine.
I was like, what the hell? I mean, okay, so you're going to teach. So, and at that time we were just like, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, you don't know how much he's really going to eat. So, sure. But, and then we didn't see the doctor for like a month.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, right? You didn't. It's not like you saw the doctor immediately. So they gave you the
we didn't
old
even see him in the hospital.
Well, although it is kind of nice of them to say, look, we're going to teach you one way, but at some point you're going to go to a doctor and he's going to talk about it differently.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Like looking back, it's
weird.
It's just weird. It's like, well, I want to know the new stuff. Like if it's new, if there's like a new method to do it that's like helpful or whatever. Like I want to know all of it.
Let's hear about that, right? So, so in your note to me, you talk about mental health stuff, caregiver burnout, and a couple of other things that we're going to go through. So I'm going to start with you. I mean, this has been a year or so.
Oh my God.
Do you feel burned out already?
I did.
You did. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like the person I'm in there, like in a crisis. Awesome. I'm there. I'm positive. I'm crushing it. But then I have, a downtime after that is exhausting because I've just given more than I should, and I definitely, I wouldn't say I got to the point of burnout, but I was very close to it for sure. And, issues, and my husband was diagnosed and I have a 4-year-old,
Yeah.
It hasn't been until like recently really that I feel confident, comfortable, and like centered in like my role here in my family. I mean, it's just been the biggest upheaval ever.
Right. Does it just feel like there's not enough time in the day and then you don't have the energy and you sort of like create that kind of fake energy to handle the thing and then you crash afterwards?
Yeah, and then there's like a checkout period, like I can't even think about like how many carbs are in this, or I can't even like like have a conversation with anybody.
Yeah, I think I understand. And that lasted for how long?
I would say maybe like 5 months.
About 5 months. How was that at the beginning, or did it wait a little and then hit you?
No, it definitely wasn't at the beginning because I was in like rock star mode,
Mm-hmm.
So it probably a few months after that.
Okay. And when he was diagnosed, you had your second was like 3 years old at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. And you're working full time?
No, I had just started going back like one day a week. I had been a stay-at-home mom for 7 years.
Okay.
And I had just started to go back, like just like getting my feet wet again because the kids were getting older. They were going to be at school full time. And like I couldn't be at home anymore, you know?
Oh, so you were just kind of embarking back on working when this happened. Were you able to keep that going during the diagnosis?
No. Nope.
You're like, I'm back. I'm gone. Goodbye.
I'm out. Yeah. Peace out, guys. I'm out. I can't,
But you're back now or no?
Yeah.
You are.
So I'm back now. I'm almost, let's see. I do about 25 hours a week now.
Okay. And what's your training in?
I have my master's in counseling psychology, and I also have a degree in addiction counseling.
Okay.
And I'm licensed.
Does that help you in your personal stuff or?
To be honest with you, no, it never really did until like lately.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I guess I just got more mature after all this.
How do you
You know
mean?
what I'm saying?
How do you mean?
Like, I don't know, just being more like responsible with myself and, I guess, yeah, just like being more honest with myself about what I want and, what makes me happy and what doesn't,
It's interesting, isn't it? You can have a profession and still it's hard to apply the things in your own life.
Oh, absolutely. A lot of therapists are crazy, by the way. Sorry, all you people out there, like, sorry.
Is this a coming out for you, or what do we?
I mean, it's there's truth to it for sure.
Gotcha. So you kind of get drawn to the profession, hoping to help yourself and then other people.
100%. Back at that time.
Oop, you broke up, Mary. Are you there, Mary?
What?
Oh, you just broke up for a second. Back at that time, and then you disappeared.
Yeah, no, that's what just back at that time. Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, I was in my 20s, wild and crazy, so, but it turns out I really like it and I'm actually pretty good at it. So, I thoroughly enjoy my work.
You should leave yourself a Yelp review that says, I'm pretty good at
it. Yeah. Yeah.
So when, I mean, do you have mental health issues at this moment as applies to diabetes? Are you seeing stuff with your kid or no? Are you guys doing okay?
No, we're doing okay. I guess my only concern with Jackson is he's always been like an old soul,
Mm-hmm.
He's a sensitive child. He's very intuitive. He gets along with everybody. He's a wonderful child. And I worry sometimes that he takes it to like the next level that he doesn't need to. Whereas like he's almost putting himself in this adult position.
Okay.
And I have to remind him a lot that this isn't your responsibility. This is for me to deal with. Like with Luke. Luke is my other one. He's a maniac, hilarious. He's just all over the place. And like Jackson gets very anxious at times if Luke isn't close by, if we're out and about somewhere, or if I'm not holding Luke's hand. I just noticed that it makes him nervous.
Is that always or prior or just since diabetes?
Since diabetes.
Okay. So he worries about everybody?
Yes.
Do you have any anxiety?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's certainly gotten better than how I used to be. I mean, I had a lot of like postpartum anxiety. That's when it was really bad for me after both my pregnancies.
Okay.
But it's settled down quite a bit.
Did it happen naturally or did you do something to impact it?
What?
Your anxiety. Like, did
my anxiety happen naturally?
No. Has it been resolving naturally or have you been taking steps to do something for it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, when I was like, after I had my kids, I went on medication, and I have medication as like as needed now, if, anything ever occurs, which it doesn't, but yeah, and just getting back into, healthier things that work, like going to therapy, going for walks, spending more quality time with my loved ones,
Yeah. I understand. I do, actually. How do you, so in your job, let's get away from you for a second. In your job, if someone comes to you and says, I think I feel depressed. How do you go about, like, what are the steps you take to figure out the level of their depression or if they actually are depressed?
Well, I'd ask how long it was going on. And what if, so if you're feeling depressed, like, what does that mean? What does that look like? What are you experiencing? Mm-hmm. So I'm looking for, loss of interest in things, change in appetite, change in sleep, things like that, and go from there. If anything is like started or triggered it,
Do all of those things need to exist? Loss of appetite, lack of interest in things that you were once interested in, like sleep, etc. Do they all have to exist, or could you just have bad sleep or just not want to eat, like etc.? Like, what makes you think, oh, this person is depressed?
Yeah, well, those are the main symptoms of a depressive episode, and there's periods of time that like coincide with those symptoms. So if you have that, say 3 out of the 4 symptoms for a period of 2 weeks, then it might be like a dysthymia, or but if it's like 30 days, then you're probably in a major depressive episode. And I'm pretty sure I'm right on the timing. I'd have to go back to my DSM, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Okay. How many people do you think experience this and don't realize it, and it's never an issue for them afterwards? Or does it persist no matter what?
Oh, it's such a good question. There's so many variables to it. Like real clinical depression, I think that people know, and some people just think, or can live, I guess, and function, and like with the mood shifts, mm-hmm. and it's just normal for them, and they think that that's fine, and if that's how they choose or don't, whatever, that's their choice.
Okay. So sometimes, some people have it happen to them and they can function with it and then it passes. And then there are some people who fall deeper into it or can't break free of it, or I'm not sure how to put it, actually. That's why I'm asking.
If left untreated, yeah, it could it could go both ways. I mean, it could get worse, or it could just pass, like a major depressive episode without treatment. I mean, I don't know if someone really just comes right out of that.
Right. And so it just kind of snowballs at that point.
Yeah. Or it'll, like lessen in intensity.
And treatment can look like talk therapy. I don't know. What else would you like? What if you thought somebody was, I don't know how they rank depression, but I think I've heard the words mild depression. So if you felt like somebody had mild depression, would you, I don't know, like where do they start?
I would definitely start with talk therapy and do like education with the patient about it, and to really get a grasp and see. I want to look at family dynamics growing up, if there's been any like significant traumas. And traumas can be big or small. And if there is an improvement with talk therapy, I'd refer for medication, for a medication evaluation.
Okay.
To start to feel better.
I see. Are there people who take the medication for a time and then stop, or do they often have to stay with it?
I mean, there was just an article that came out recently about the use of SSRIs and how they're really not that effective. I mean, a lot of people are on them for years and years and years, and have like, some people have had complete life changes, and it's been wonderful, and that's good for them. Some people go on and off. It really depends. But overall, I would say everyone is so different.
Yeah, well, that's true. Okay, so this has all happened to you, right? The kid's diagnosed. You've gone through what you've gone through. All of a sudden, your husband's type 2 turns out is LADA. How have you and your husband been handling it? But between the two of you, have you had problems or?
Oh God. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's just sad. We've decided to separate, to get divorced.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know.
No, it's okay. It's actually, it's not a bad thing. I guess I'm trying to like change the script of like divorce being horrible and awful. We've really like grown apart. We have very different like beliefs on just a lot of things, there were some issues prior to diagnosis, and then diagnosis happened, and it just brought us like further apart, because we were like working on our marriage, we were trying date nights, and we were in couples counseling, and then once Jackson was diagnosed, like I just struggled so much with leaving him with like a babysitter. And my whole focus was on him and like learning diabetes and making him, and also like being a certain way with him that this is a big deal, but you're still a kid, dude. So like, you're going to eat that cake at the birthday party, and we're going to figure it out. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not super strict with Jackson like that. And over time, obviously I've learned, better ways to manage it. And I just took it all on. And in that, Keith and I we just got further and further apart.
Mm-hmm. Was it tough to concentrate on more than one thing at a time that was difficult?
Yeah. I mean, and I have another child that like was also, my kids are my world, like it was just all about this, we have to like adjust to this now. And like, I wanted to like keep a sense of normalcy in the house. We're like, it's just, like with Luke, like, no, it's okay. We just have to, Jackson's just getting his shot. Or like if his alarm would go off, Luke would be like, Jackson, your sugar, like, and it's just okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, what am I trying to say? Like, I didn't want it to be this huge catastrophic thing that's happening in our family. I just like, well, we have diabetes is in our family now. And like, this is how we deal with it.
You were trying to downplay it. Just kind of minimize its impact on everybody.
And like normalize it in a sense.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So while that's all happening, so I obviously don't know the elements of your marital strife prior to this, but this was not something that he could have continued to do while you were doing that thing. You guys just sort of drifted. Was he not part of the diabetes learning?
He was. And one of our strengths is when like there's a crisis, we work well together. I'm more of like a feelings person, and like I just have this intuition and whatever.
Mary, I lost you again. I'm sorry. I lost you again. Intuition, and then you blanked out for a second.
Yeah, it's just like, I have this intuition and whatnot, and he's more like, what are the facts? What could go wrong? More from that type of standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
And when working together, that can really be a strength. We've been able to overcome a lot of things that way.
Right.
Same with diabetes. By the way, I finally got him to listen to Juicebox because I was like, this, I need help understanding and conceptualizing this because it's just hard for me the way my brain works,
Right.
So with two heads together, we were able like to both understand it.
Gotcha. Oh, so together you kind of picked through it and figured out the diabetes stuff.
Yeah.
That's great. And it helped him. I would imagine it probably helps him day to day with what he's doing now.
Yes, right. It does.
Good. All right. Well, I'm so sorry that that's happening for you. Do you think it's a definite thing?
Yeah, I do. And I don't, like I said, I don't want, Keith and I, at the end of the day, we still like really like each other and we really care about each other. We're just like not good together anymore.
Okay.
And it's not like a bad thing. I don't know how to really describe it without being like, like descriptive, and I don't really want thousands of people to know my business.
You should definitely say like, as little or as much as you want. That's fine.
Yeah. I mean, we're just saying like we're getting unmarried, like we have a great relationship. We work better together like this.
How do you, I'm sorry.
Rather than like in a marriage, there's just a lot of, for some reason, it just doesn't work as well as it does on a friendship level, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. How do you imagine it working going forward? Will you live nearby each other or?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the kids will go back and forth?
Yep. They'll go back and forth.
Okay. I'm just trying to figure out how. And he understands as much about the diabetes as you do, and you guys work well together with it. So you don't think that'll be too much trouble with your son?
I don't, but although we did start the Omnipod 5 and he hasn't really like dove into that yet. So, but like, I don't have any doubt that like he'll understand it and, figure it out, if not even better than what I've done so far, like we're good like that.
Gotcha. Excellent. All right. Well, this is a bummer, but okay, Mary.
Yeah, it's not. Congratulations are in order. It's good. It's good.
I'll send a gift.
Yeah, please. I mean, like, yeah, a housewarming gift. I mean, I already bought him a housewarming gift.
Oh my gosh. All right. Okay. So how do you find managing Jackson's diabetes? Are you having the outcomes you're looking for? Are things going the way you expect? Or are you still working on it?
I mean, it's always a work in progress. He's growing like a freaking weed.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of that. School, you know, a lot of adjusting during school because they won't pre-bolus. They're not comfortable doing that, which is fine. You know, like they obviously have other kids they have to, manage during the day. So,
Are they not comfortable, or they don't want to be stuck to the timing of it?
I think it's both.
Okay.
Because again, they're coming from like get the pre-meal sugar, see what he eats, and calculate after.
Okay. Pre-meal sugar. Oh, that's how they're doing it. He's not even, it's not like he's getting the insulin and then eating. He's eating before the insulin.
He is. But so last year he had PE before lunch. So what was happening was after PE, he'd drop and then he'd eat. So it was like a really fine line of the insulin to give because he would still be like coming down. So, I mean, it took a while to kind of figure out what to do. I mean, if he was at like a certain number before gym, I'd give him a little bump, have him like eat a couple Skittles or have like an Honest juice, which is like 8 carbs or something,
Right.
Just to bump him up because I knew he was going to burn it right off and hold him steady through gym.
And that was working?
That worked, yeah.
What are your blood sugar goals?
I mean, it worked until it didn't, right? Blood sugar goals. I mean, I have my target, my range 70 to 150.
Are you making that most of the time?
On the 5, I'm hitting it way better. On the dash, weren't
as much.
Not as much.
Right. Do you have stability, or is there a lot of up and down?
Scott, it really varies. There's some days, even weeks, that he's super steady and great, and then there's other times where we're just on this roller coaster.
And do you pre-bolus at home for meals?
Yeah.
And you see a better outcome then?
Yeah.
Than at school. Okay. I wonder if he has a lot of activity at school, if that isn't helping him a little bit with the not pre-bolusing.
Yeah. He is, he is very active.
Yeah. Because
mac and cheese. Well, if he eats mac and cheese. Now, I don't even pre-bolus for mac and cheese. He could eat a huge bowl and his sugar doesn't move until like an hour later. Right.
But when it starts to digest.
Yeah.
Yeah, then he has it. I'm wondering how, what do spikes look like at school when they're like literally bolusing after meals? Like, to me, that seems like a 250 blood sugar, not bolusing till after a meal.
Oh, yeah. Or higher.
Is there no way to get them to bolus for half of it before he eats and then reassess?
Well, that's a good point.
Yeah. There's got to be a way to do that because it's not, them saying we're not comfortable with it. It seems sort of like bull to me. Like you're going to drive the kid's blood sugar up every day and then we're just going to manage it down again, like every day.
Yeah. And some days he would tank.
After they corrected.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, geez. That sucks. You're using a CGM?
Yeah.
And so you're able to see it during the day too?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Like I don't know. I'm not telling you what to do.
What do you do?
I'd really pressure them to do it differently. I would just say, look, you're creating an unhealthy situation for my son every day by doing it like this. So, even he's on an algorithm now. Like you're also screwing with the algorithm, like because you're putting in food and not telling the algorithm that the food's there. So it doesn't know what to think because it just thinks that his blood sugar shoots up randomly. And then wait a minute. So you're not bolusing when he eats. He's going up 200, 250, and then they're putting in the carbs?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why he's going to get low later. Because the algorithm thinks the carbs went in when you told it, not an hour or 45 minutes prior. So, yeah. So so the algorithm's going after the rise. Do you see what I'm saying? Like it sees a rise happen. It doesn't know why because you haven't told it there's carbs there. So it starts to jack up and push at the rise, trying to stop it, thinking at first, oh, it's just a small bump. I'm going to come after it. And then as the rise gets more aggressive, then the algorithm gets more aggressive. And now it's been aggressive for the entire time he's eating. And then you tell it he's got carbs now. So you have insulin on board that it believes is for a rise that has nothing to do with carbs. And then it attacks the carbs that you put in. And that's why you're getting the low later. You have to tell it when you eat what you're eating.
Yeah. Well, this was last year on the Dash. So he wasn't
getting an algorithm bump from that at least. Okay.
No, he was on the Dash. So the insulin would go in like as he was spiking up from lunch, and then we'd have to wait an hour before it started coming down.
Yeah. Well, when
but
he goes
for
back
this year coming up,
right.
he's on the algorithm now. So this year coming up, like, we have a meeting with the nurses when I get back from Connecticut, and I have to figure out like how, because we have to do it differently.
Yeah, you have to impress upon them that this is not how this works, and because it will confuse the hell out of the algorithm if you bolus 45 minutes after he eats and tell it that's when the food's going in. That'll really be a mess, honestly.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, so what is it? So is it just the pre-bolus then? Like, right before he eats, someone's going to have to go to him, or they were just walking him to the nurse last year.
How old is he? 7?
He's 8.
He's 8. Do you think you guys could do it through text? Like you and he?
Maybe. We've been working on that.
Mm-hmm.
He just doesn't always remember to check his phone.
Yeah. Oh no, you probably would have to text him. but I'm saying, like, if you had a certain time of day, even if a timer went off on his phone and he was like, okay, it's time to text my mom. I text her, hey, we're getting ready to go to lunch. And you say, that's fine. You look at his blood sugar and tell him to bolus a certain amount. And he walks right to lunch with everybody else and starts to eat.
Yeah.
That's how Arden did it forever. She would bolus in the classroom before lunch.
She would?
Yeah. And we would do it by text. She never saw the nurse.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a disruption for him.
Going to the nurse?
How old was she when she started texting with you?
3rd grade.
3rd grade. He's going into 2nd, but it's same age.
Oh, okay. Oh, he's older than I thought for that. Or am I?
Yeah, he was held back a year.
Gotcha.
In the younger grades. So
I mean, if it's something, I don't know if the grade matters. We started doing it when I thought of it. Like I didn't have a podcast to listen to, so like I had to figure it out first. So I figured out what to do. When I figured it out in the summertime between 2nd and 3rd grade, and so we put it into practice starting in 3rd grade. Arden hasn't been to the nurse for a diabetes thing since the last day of 2nd grade.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but we did it all through texting. But I don't know how. I don't see why this wouldn't be okay.
Yeah, no. I mean, I guess I like the idea of setting an alarm for him, because then that's a good intervention for him to, like, a reminder.
Yeah, that's what I did.
He would forget.
There was an alarm on her phone that it went off. It would go off. She'd text me and say, hey, what's up? And then we would do lunch. Back then, Dexcom did not, hold on. When was that? 2000. I don't remember. There might not have been a Dexcom back then. Sorry. Is there a fire in the hotel?
No.
I'm not even sure if we had a Dexcom in the very beginning. So she would probably, she would test her blood sugar, tell me what her blood sugar was. Then we would bolus. And then in ensuing years, she'd tell me what the CGM said. because I couldn't see it. There was no share. And then, you know, as the technology improved and sharing came into being.
Did they, oh, all right. So that they didn't have sharing back. Follow Jackson's number.
Yeah. For years we didn't have it. Do you know what that beeping is? Do you hear that?
What?
The loud bell?
Yeah, it's my text. It's my work texting.
Oh, okay. Can you mute it? It's overwhelming you when you're talking. That's all.
Yeah, it should stop now.
Okay. That's fine.
I'm so sorry, Scott. Hold on.
Sorry.
I'm so annoying. I think my phone's my. Okay. Hold on a second here.
Later, when I'm editing this, I'm going to count the bells, and that's going to be the name of the episode, like 6 bells or 7 bells or something like that.
Yeah, well, so I'm on this work text, and it's like 18 people are on the text.
Mm-hmm.
And we have like the drug reps that come in every day, almost every day, and bring lunch. So it's like lunchtime, and they're like, well, who's bringing in lunch today? What restaurant is it from?
My goodness. Okay. Yeah. No. So I'm sorry to go back. Yeah. The Dexcom share didn't always exist. So share and follow didn't always exist. There was a time where Arden had a Dexcom and she's the only one that could see it. She had a receiver. It wasn't on her phone. And she used to wear it in this little pack around her waist. And it would, you know, she could see her blood sugar on it. And then she'd text me and tell me what it was. And then we would do that. Prior to that, she tested her blood sugar. She'd text me the number. And then we would bolus off of that. So
yeah, I'm gonna work on that with Jackson. I think he's totally capable of doing it.
Yeah, you can practice at home.
Like extra reminder. Yeah,
you can just practice at home, right? You can just do meals from the other room. Say, look, we're gonna bolus your meal today, but we're gonna do it over text instead of standing next to each other. We're practicing for school, and then, you know, it's a viable way. And then you're there. Once you're done, you can go check and make sure everything happened the way you expected. But if you're using Dexcom and you can see his number on your phone, then you can, you know, that's a step you don't have to worry about him getting the number wrong because you can see it too. So I don't know. I would try something. I don't know. I'm not comfortable. He's not my kid and I'm not comfortable with what you told me. It makes me upset for him. So.
Yeah, I mean, it was a shit show last year with the ups and downs and the lows. And we never knew what we were going to get every day.
Yeah, it's not fair to him either. He feels terrible and, you know, it's all over the place. So plus he's not getting to be who he is because he's having these, you know, these bouncing around blood sugars are affecting, you know, his temperament, I would imagine, and everything else. Yeah. Are they back?
Yeah, they're back.
That's okay. Well, we can wrap up if they're back. Is there anything that we didn't talk about that you wanted to?
Jackson, come say hi.
Hi.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, Jackson, what's up, man? How was wiffle ball?
Good.
Yeah. Excellent. Are you how long?
Loosh.
How long have you had the Omnipod 5?
About a month or so.
Yeah, about a month.
Are you liking it?
Yes.
Cool. That's very cool. I was talking to your mom about ways that you might be able to use it at school this year. So hopefully some of that will work out for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. How's your vacation going? You seeing your grandparents?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That's very nice. And your uncle's there too, huh?
Yeah.
Well, it was nice to meet you, Jackson. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was telling him about your whole story, buddy.
I know most of it now. Did you say yuck?
Yeah.
All right.
Back to the Switch.
Yeah. Minecraft? Oh, we like that. Yeah. That's it's interesting because the way you described him, Minecraft fits a little bit.
Yeah, everything is square.
Everything is square.
See? Yeah. He likes that.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It really is. Cool. All right. Well, Mary, this will be too much noise for a podcast, so let's say goodbye. But but I really appreciate you doing this. I thought it was terrific, and you obviously shared a lot of stuff and with everybody, which will help everybody. And
I know. I feel like it was horrible and like I was all over the place and I'm sorry.
is that how you feel?
Yeah, I do. I don't know why.
I asked
I
the
don't
questions. I don't think you were all over the place.
I don't know. I just feel like it wasn't my best. I don't know. It's going to sound so weird, but anyways.
All right. Well, Mary, then maybe I'll just name the episode something like Bumfuzzled or something like that. And
yeah.
I don't know.
Too much noise.
Yeah. They don't come out for like 6 months. So I'll go back and edit it and I'll figure out what's there. And that's how we'll go.
All right.
All right. I really do appreciate you doing this and taking time out of your vacation. It was really nice.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much.
Seriously, the best of luck to you.
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye. A huge thank you to one of today's sponsors, Gvoke Glucagon. Find out more about Gvoke HypoPen at gvokeglucagon.com/juicebox. You spell that GVOKEGLUCAGON.com/juicebox. I'd also like to thank Omnipod. They are longtime sponsors of the podcast. I can't thank them enough for being with me since the very first year, 2015. I just want to remind you to go to omnipod.com/juicebox to support them as they support the podcast. And I mean, all that means is if you're looking for an Omnipod 5 or an Omnipod DASH, use my link. As promised, I will put the very noisy couple of minutes that Mary and I spent, as I think she was in her car, at the end here. If you want to hear it, it's kind of funny. What else? Thanks for listening. I appreciate that very much. Please tell other people if you like the podcast and think they would like it as well. And don't forget to find the private Facebook group, Juicebox Podcast Type 1 Diabetes. Terrific group, coming up on 40,000 members. Absolutely a great place to find your community.
Okay, how's that?
Hold on. I'm not sure if there's still a noise. So I'm trying to figure out if it's the air conditioner winding down or if it's just something different.
I can always go to another spot.
I don't know. Is there noise outside of the car?
Not really. I mean, there's like cars going by, but it's not.
Oh, no, this is pretty consistent. I wish you could hear this, but you can't. Yeah, I don't know what to say that it is. The first thing.
All right, hold on. I can just kick my kids out. Hold on a second. I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry. You're fine. Yeah, Mary, it was the traffic, believe it or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm moving.
Because once you got out of the car, it got louder.
Can you guys go play some wiffle ball? I can't. There's like a bad background noise out there. Thanks.
How did you get to them so quickly?
No, not yet, Lou. We'll go play some wiffle ball with Uncle Nat. Thanks. Okay. The bat's next to the bed over there. Woo. Hang on, Scott.
Yeah, no problem. I'm waiting to see what happens when you close the door.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go
Let's go play some things.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Okay, how's that? Terrible?
No, I just wish you could have heard it the whole time. It was just so funny. Like it literally just sounded like jet planes were flying past you.
Oh, wow.
That was the cars, I assume.
Yeah.
Because once you opened the door to the car, to your car, I could tell that your car was keeping out a lot of the noise, but just not enough of it. So
Yeah, I have a pretty loud car.
Do you?
Anyways.
It's one of those cars you get up on the highway and you're like, I'm just going to turn the radio up and we'll all talk when we get there.
Yeah, totally. You're like, get out of my way, dudes.
Great. No, so this sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Sorry about that. Although
No.
your kids sound young enough that you were able to relocate them without any argument. They were just like, we're going outside now? Okay.
Dude, I know. I've had like a plan B because I was like, I'm going to like do this in my car. And my brother's here watching them. And I'm like, I had like the wiffle ball bat and the ball ready. And I was like, there's a lawn right up there. You guys can just go and.
Well, that's nice. Well, it's very nice. So you're on vacation?
Yeah, I'm originally from Connecticut. I grew up in Trumbull, Connecticut, and my parents are still here. And one of my brothers is still here. So every summer I put my two kids in the car and we drive up and spend about a week or two up here and get away from that Savannah summer heat.
I was going to say to escape the heat in Georgia, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's like, in the winter up here, you're like, you get a blizzard or you can't, it's just so cold. You can't go out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in the summer in Savannah, it's just so hot, you know?
Well, I'm looking at our calendar right now. I call this my sadness countdown. And Arden is leaving for Savannah on the 6th. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 weeks from now. Is it going to be super hot still by then?
It is.